Hello and welcome back to more Films Under Constant Critique, where we take a look at films, some good, some bad, and some downright awful. I'm Bongo Baikov, joined by our host Maverick, Dren, Zaria. This week we're taking a look at the interesting movie Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Well, here's another nice mess you've gotten me into. Oh my god. There's so many movies we could have done, and we chose to do this of all things. God. Mortal Kombat Annihilation was released on November 21st, 1997. Less so released and more they didn't try to stop it, apparently. It cost $30 million. I'd like
Which
to
is
repeat
shocking to me.
$30 million. That's how much it costs to make this fucking thing. And thankfully it only made $51.3 million, so a lot of people were spared from seeing it. And I'd like to point out this cost more to make than the first movie.
And it does not show. It looks worse in every regard compared to the first one.
Hell, we were making fun of the CGI reptile in the first movie.
That would be like a good special effect in this one.
That looks better than any of the effects in this movie. Which is sad. And I mean, okay, anytime a movie sequel has something like Annihilation or Resurrection in the title, you just know it's gonna suck. I mean, oh, there's a question. Is this better or worse than American Ninja 4 Annihilation?
Oh, God.
One thing that says a lot about this movie is that Paul W.S. Anderson didn't come back to direct.
And neither did a large majority of the cast. They didn't return for this movie.
And we'll get to the cast, but the director of this was a guy named John R. Leonetti. And before this, he did cinematography for Mortal Kombat. They couldn't get the director back, but they got the cinematographer to direct it.
And I think this was his first movie he ever directed, right?
Oh, that's a good start right there.
Yeah.
Hot Shots Part 2. He also did the cinematography for that. Child's Play 3, The Mask, Spy
The next
Hard.
movie he directed was The Butterfly Effect 2.
Oh, he is a master of sequels.
He also did Annabelle from 2014.
I was going to mention Annabelle, yeah. He also did cinematography for the Lindsay Lohan classic, I Know Who Killed Me. That title kills me.
2007 was a busy year for the guy. And 2010.
Okay, but we can move on now. The cast.
Oh boy.
There are a few returning cast members. Robin Shu, who played Liu Kang, he came back. Talisa Soto, Katana, she came back. They also had, the guy that plays Scorpion in this was Johnny Cage's stunt double in the first movie.
Nice.
You idiots! These are not them! You've captured their stunt doubles!
And Ed Boon came back as the voice of Scorpion.
Yep, making him a returning cast member somehow.
I guess the producers told him to get over here. Some of the other cast members, Brian Thompson, and he played the Night Slasher in the Stallone classic Cobra. And he's been in a lot of Star Trek properties, including one of the worst Star Trek movies, Star Trek Generations. And he's also in The Three Amigos.
Huh.
The actress for Sonya Blade was in an episode of the Highlander TV series.
Yeah.
The actress for Jade was also in Zoolander.
Huh.
James Remar plays Raiden in this.
And that is a downgrade, if you ask me.
Okay, that's another thing. Let's put this into perspective. Christopher Lambert agreed to come back for Highlander 2, Highlander 3, Highlander Endgame, and Fortress 2 Re-Entry. He even appeared in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, and he wasn't even in the first one, but he refused to do this movie.
That's bad. That's really bad.
When you can't even get Christopher Lambert back for your sequel. I mean, you just know you fucked up at that point. And they also couldn't get Frank Welker back, and that dude is in everything. I mean,
Yeah. Fun fact, though, the guy that got to play Raiden in this movie, James Remar.
James Remar, yeah, he's been in a lot of stuff, including the Warriors.
Including Judge Dredd.
Wait, which Judge Dredd?
The Stallone one.
The Stallone one, yeah. The one where they don't know how to pronounce the word "the."
Yeah.
He's also in 48 Hours, Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, The Warriors, Django Unchained, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Huh.
The actress for Sindel played one of the sirens in Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, really?
And hell, she feels like a siren in this movie, too.
Basically.
She's also in Wild Wild West, The Cell, Mansquito, Planet Raptor, and Transylvania. There's also a Batman Forever connection.
Oh, no.
Mataro played one of Two-Face's thugs in Batman Forever.
Oh, really?
Another one. Keith Cook, who played Reptile in the first movie, played Sub-Zero in this one.
Yep.
I love how they got some of the actors from the first movie back, but not in the right roles. Oh, another thing that's notable. This was the film debut of Ray Park, who played Darth Maul.
Huh.
And in this, he appears as Raptor number 3 and Tarkatan Baraka.
Interesting.
Okay, the music was done by George S. Clinton, who did the music for the first movie. He also did music for the Cheech and Chong movies, Still Smokin', and the Corsican Brothers.
And I will say that this is jumping ahead a bit, but the music is probably the one good thing about this movie.
I thought some of the music was awful, honestly. Like, there was some there were some parts, but it was just this really loud, blaring techno.
Exactly.
Which was just bad. It was just so bad.
I think we should also, though, mention some of the artists that are on the soundtrack for this movie.
Yeah, which I didn't notice while watching it, but apparently Megadeth is one of them.
Making it the second time that they've been on this podcast, and both times were for video game adaptations.
God, that's true, yeah. Because that's Super Mario Brothers, the movie.
Which is really not where you'd expect them to pop up, but... We also got Rammstein, the German metal band.
Okay. I don't were there any other bands you want to mention that were on the soundtrack?
There was Scooter. They were a techno band around that time.
No Queen and no AC/DC, though.
Sadly.
That would improve any movie. I mean... the tagline was, "Destroy all expectations." And you know, that's actually very fitting for this piece of shit. Although I'm surprised the tagline wasn't like "Annihilate all expectations." That would make sense, but yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so initial thoughts.
This is terrible.
It's not just a dumpster fire. It's not just a dumpster fire. It's a dumpster dragon. It's awful. I cannot believe this was written by real people and put out into real movie theaters.
It's bad. Yeah, it's baffling. Like, this is bad for like a direct-to-video movie.
That's the
And the
thing.
fact-
Okay, that's the main thing I wanted to emphasize. This was put out into theaters.
Yeah, like, yeah, it's so strange.
Nobody looked at it and thought maybe there's something that could be better. I mean, it's like the big rigs of movies. Who thought this was okay? I don't even know where to begin. I mean, okay, from a technical standpoint, this is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. At least if we're talking theatrical movies.
Yeah,
It's definitely one of the worst movies we've had to do for the podcast.
it's down there. It's pretty bad.
Honestly, I'd put it in like the top 3. It wouldn't be number 1, but on principle, it has to be high. Like, it's bad. That being said, there were parts of it I laughed at,
Yeah,
and at
Yeah.
the very least, it was only like 80 minutes.
it didn't feel like 80 minutes though. I hit an hour and I'm like, we have to be almost done, and then I saw there was still time left, and there was just like a bit of my soul that died.
It's so poorly assembled. Like,
Ugh.
every time I think about this movie, I just have more and more questions. Like, just the main ones being how and why. Like, just... Also, another thing I want to point out, this is the lowest rated movie on Rotten Tomatoes that we've done on the podcast.
Nice. Nice.
Originally, it was Supergirl, which had 8%.
Oh wow, we finally beat Supergirl.
Mortal Kombat Annihilation is at 4%. So according to these numbers, this movie is twice as bad as Supergirl. I was gonna ask, did you pay to watch this?
I did.
To quote Obi-Wan,
I'm so sorry.
I didn't even pay to watch this, and I still want my money back. I mean, did you borrow it from Jeff or?
Yeah. I had to I had to pay $3 to let Jeff let me watch it.
Okay. Oh, another thing I was gonna ask: how accurate was this to the games?
Oh, it's a bit of a. I'm just gonna get, I think, some of this out of the way right now. There's points that are accurate. For instance, when we see the new Sub-Zero, that's the younger brother of the Sub-Zero from the first movie. That was accurate at least. Everything else is sort of this weird mishmash, especially like the plot point of Raiden being the brother of Shao Kahn. That's not in any of the games.
I'll be honest, the entire time I was watching this felt like an extended Power Rangers episode. Or I guess
You're
it would be
not
like one
wrong.
of the Power Rangers movies then, like Mighty Morphin, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Even the Power Rangers movies are better made than this. I mean... Okay, so let's get into this.
Round 1. Fight!
The title is on fire,
Yep. You hear the guy yell out Mortal Kombat.
and you do hear the Mortal Kombat thing. You know, that's one thing. They did do the bare minimum. They included the Mortal Kombat theme in this one.
Which is more than the remake did.
And then we get a brief recap of the previous movie. And I find it so funny. This takes place literally right after the first movie.
Yeah, it's like going from Halloween to Halloween 2. It's like the exact second that the first movie leaves off, you pick it up.
Please don't compare this to Halloween and Halloween 2.
What if I compare it to Rob Zombie's Halloween and Halloween 2?
You can do that, yeah. You can do that. But yeah, so we basically get the whole Evil Dead recap thing. I don't want to compare Evil Dead to this either. And the first thing, okay, right from the beginning, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is the kind of movie we're in for. The blue screen in this is so...
Oh, it's atrocious.
These are honestly some of the worst special effects I've ever seen in like a big budget movie. And a lot of the effects look unfinished too. Like,
yeah, there are parts. Like at one point, Raiden's using.
You can see like the corner where it like cuts off when like Raiden's like jumping. Raiden is like jumping around. It looks so bad.
There's one part. This is later in the movie, but there's one part where Raiden is using electricity. And they have the sound effect in there, but they don't have the visual effect for it. Even though he's clearly supposed to be using it. It is so strange.
And I remember reading, I think I don't know if it was one of the producers or something, they mentioned like the studio didn't give them enough time to finish the visual effects, and I'm like...
And it shows.
Yeah, we have a new competitor for least finished movie now on this podcast. Because really, its only competition is Superman 4.
And I think Superman 4 beats it out in that regard.
Oh my god, I don't know, it's hard to... I guess, does this one reuse as... Do they reuse as many special effects in this one as they do in Superman 4?
That's a good question.
I mean, the fact we're even comparing this to Superman 4, though, and Superman 4 cost less to make...
And it was a better movie.
Oh my god. And then Shao Kahn shows up in a shitty Halloween mask. he looks like a dollar store version of General Kale from Willow in this. And I'm gonna be honest, okay, that was one of the things that... Because watching this, my only hope was maybe it would be unintentionally funny. And there were parts of it that were mostly because of Shao Kahn. Because the actor playing him is just so... He's so cartoonish and over the top. And the lines themselves are bad, but the delivery makes them even funnier. Like, one of his first lines in the movie is, "The Earth was created in 6 days. So too shall it be destroyed. And on the 7th day, mankind will rest in peace."
At the very least, it looks like Shao Kahn's actor was having a good time with it.
Yeah, he's like... If we're going objectively, though, he's one of the dumbest villains we've had on this podcast. Like, he's such a terrible villain.
And he doesn't even really do much.
Never for 1 second can you take him seriously, like, at all. And he's just so, like... Oh my god. God, there's another line. I forgot how early this line happens in the movie, but this is the one line I always quote from this movie. Because it's just so, like... Basically what happens is, like, they show up to confront Shao Kahn and all his bad guys. Katana sees her mother.
Yeah.
I guess, and she says, "Mother, you're alive," and then she says, "Too bad, you will die."
And there's a weird pause in there. Because it's, "Too bad, you will die."
X-Men, welcome to die. Gosh. The fact the dialogue in this was making Battlefield Earth look like Shakespeare, I mean, oh my god. We're like, we're not even 4 minutes in, and the acting is garbage. You can already tell this is a train wreck just from looking at it, and, like... We've made this joke many times before, but it literally does feel like they just went with a first draft on this one.
It does.
Yeah, Raiden's to it. I mentioned that. Oh, another line from Shao Kahn. He says, "As long as the portal remains open, your world becomes my world."
Wait a second. The Mario movie had the same plot point.
Oh my god. Megadeth did the soundtracks for both the movies, and both movies have portals into another world.
That merge the dimensions.
Oh gosh. Are you gonna make a Stargate reference next or something? Like, as long as the portal remains open, your world becomes my world. That's a fucking Power Rangers line right there.
It is.
And he does this stupid laugh while saying it too. Raiden fights Shao Kahn. Oh, did I mention the blue screen in this is awful?
It's terrible. And they add like weird blurring effects onto some of the characters who do like jump kicks.
Yeah, that's
where
another
it's like
thing. Another thing.
It's like those
there are so many jumps. Like, you could do a drinking game just based on how many times they do flips or jumps in this movie.
And then Johnny Cage dies.
Oh, that is one thing we should mention. Unlike the 2021 movie, this does have Johnny Cage in it.
For like the first 5 minutes.
He dies in the first scene, but he's in the movie. It's not even 7 minutes into the movie, and they just straight up killed Johnny Cage.
And the best part is Sonya Blade is the only person who apparently cares. She's the only one who mentions Johnny Cage after that scene.
Yeah, it's... I mean, to be fair, Johnny Cage did kind of suck in that first movie, so maybe they were just hoping he would die. And James Remar, oh my god, he's so bad in this. He's making Christopher Lambert look like Laurence Olivier. His acting, his acting in this was reminding me of Dan Haggerty from Elves. It's just this super monotone, like, I took too many sleeping pills performance. Maybe, there's a theory. Maybe the actors were all, like, drunk or something while filming this.
Some of them had to be. I mean,
okay, Russell Crowe was putting more effort into his performance in Man of Steel than most of the people in this. Like, seriously. Oh my god. And if you're wondering why this is so disjointed, there's hardly a plot here.
No, it really is. The whole thing is Shao Kahn wants to merge Earth with Outworld, and then they fight
over Earth. Yeah, and then there's fight scenes. Yeah. Excuse me. They get inside these giant hamster wheels and roll through tunnels. What the hell?
I looked away for like a half a minute. I then looked back up and I was like, what the hell is going on?
Wait. You only looked away for half a minute during this? I'm surprised you didn't look away during most of it. And the editing here was so bad, too, because they show Sonya and Raiden getting into the hamster wheel, and then it cuts to Liu Kang and Katana in one of them.
Yeah.
You don't see them getting into it.
There was another fight scene later where Raiden walks into a room, like through a doorway, talks to somebody, then gets kicked backwards into a wall that wasn't behind him before, and then breaks through it. This whole thing is an editing train wreck.
Oh, fucking Turkish Star Wars is better edited than this. It's just sometimes it cuts you off, and anyway. Another Shao Kahn line. Earth is under attack, and it is glorious. I think the reason why Shao Kahn was so enjoyable in this movie is he seemed to be the only one who was actually having fun.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Sindel occasionally had a funny line, but like Shao Kahn was just
The centaur guy looked like he was having some
like
fun.
all the villains in this. They're just so cartoonish, and like
in.
they're some of the silliest villains I have ever seen. Like Shao Kahn makes Shang Tsung in the first movie look subtle. That's how goofy it gets. And that was the guy that said, "Your brother's soul is mine."
Mine.
I was just waiting to say that.
And then they also just kind of threw in a bunch of the other ninjas from the Mortal Kombat games. It's like out of nowhere, you've got Ermac, who later summons Noob Saibot.
Oh,
You've
Ermac
got
is in
Smoke.
this? Okay.
Yeah, he's the guy in red.
Yeah, I was like wondering where did all these ninjas come from? Because they're
And
not.
then there's like 6 of them dressed like Reptile at one point.
They're not even in the first movie. Was Reptile? I don't remember Reptile being in this.
There were 6 dudes dressed up in not orange, in green ninja outfits, which is Reptile's color.
What? Okay. Also, the camera work in this was so
It's
bad.
bad.
Like why were there were so many strange zooms in this? I don't know if you noticed that.
Yeah.
It would just zoom sometimes for just no reason, and I'm like, did you? Oh my god! Was the cameraman on crack or something while making this?
He was the cinematographer was too busy learning how to direct a movie to focus on that.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, have I mentioned the dialogue in this is horrible?
It makes the first movie's dialogue look good.
Honestly, okay, one movie this is reminding me of was that Dungeons and Dragons movie with Jeremy Irons.
Oh yeah.
Like just hell, even that was better than this. But like some of the, especially like the villains acting, like Jeremy Irons is ridiculous in that movie. Like,
let the blood rain from the sky!
The whole time I was watching this, I was like, this doesn't really feel like Mortal Kombat. It feels like Power Rangers.
It really does.
Although honestly, that might be insulting to Power Rangers too. Like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, which is even that's better than. There's lava, which made me think of Mustafar. I kept thinking, for some reason, like there were things in this that kept reminding me of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Like I mentioned those hamster wheels earlier, that made me think of that chase scene with General Grievous.
Yeah. One of the ninjas, I forget if it's Rain or Smoke, but one of them gets thrown into a fire pit.
Oh my god, I remember that. Wait, that's a little bit later in my notes, but I do remember that. Like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what that line was. Yeah, like he gets knocked into a fire.
Yeah, like Shao Kahn appears and 20 seconds later he's throwing his minions into fire pits.
Yeah, he like says to Shao Kahn, "This will never happen again," and then Shao Kahn says, "That's true, it will never happen again." After he's thrown him into the fire. Like, God.
Toasty!
Liu Kang and Katana almost kiss. Where was their chemistry in this or the previous movie? Hell, they don't do that again either. If I remember right. I don't remember them really. Well, that was out of nowhere. Okay.
They're just trying to force in a love story where you don't
Basically,
really need
this
one.
movie. Most of this movie is just fight scenes, though. Like, it's just.
Yeah. With way too long in between some of them.
We got a fight scene with they're like fighting this robot guy, which
Yeah, oh, and then Jax is there with like metal arm things, like arm sleeves.
yeah, something like that.
And Jax is supposed to be like a comic relief character in this, and he sucks at it.
He was bad, but honestly, some of his lines were so bad that they ended up becoming funny to me. Like, because, again, this is how low the bar was. His character, because all the other characters are just blank slates, at least of, like, the protagonists, but at least he was putting in some effort. Like, he at least had a little more personality. That's how low the bar was, because he was terrible comic relief. Because there was like some lines in there that
I like when he called the centaur Mr. Ed.
Why is there a Mr. Ed reference in a Mortal Kombat movie? Well, listen to this. The edit, also the fight choreography in this was just, it's bad. Like, either that or it's just so poorly edited and poorly shot that it just looks bad.
Yeah.
Hell, everything in this is bad. I mean, we can't. Lots of strobe effects too. It was just disorienting to watch. Like, just looking at it, like, God. Sub-Zero is there. I was confused by this. So Sub-Zero is the robot guy?
So that's supposed to be the younger brother of Sub-Zero from the first movie.
Okay, but he's also dressed like Sub-Zero?
Because he takes up the mantle of Sub-Zero after his brother dies.
Okay.
Granted, they didn't really explain it in the movie. You kind of needed to know that in the games.
That's another thing. Basically, this movie, it's fight scenes, terrible exposition. That's what a lot of the movie is. And he's like mad at Liu Kang for killing his brother. Says he let Katana live because of some prophecy. Scorpion
shows up for 5 seconds. He yells out, "Get over here!"
Hey, it has that in it at least. But...
And then he, like, kidnaps Katana, and before taking her through a portal, just yells out, "Suckers!"
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Suckers!
That could be the opening quote for this episode.
I feel like we're the suckers, though, because we chose to watch it. It's like that scene. That scene was like mocking like the people that paid to see this. At least I just pirated it because I'm not paying to watch this bullshit. Yeah, the fight scenes weren't that good in this. The stunt work was all right, but like it's just the editing, and it was just filmed so badly. I mentioned that the characters in the first movie had the personality of paperweights. The characters in this have the personality of paper.
Exactly. It's strange when you have a movie that isn't very well acted and the dialogue isn't that good. And then you followed it up by replacing all the actors with worse actors and replacing the writer with the worse writer.
Yeah, it's the first movie. You look at the first movie. The biggest name you could get to be in the first movie was Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
And then in this, who's the biggest name you can get to be in this? James Remar?
I guess.
Okay, I love how both actors played Raiden in these.
No, Ed Boon. Ed Boon.
They did get Ed Boon to be in these, though. Sonya ends up in a nuclear testing facility and has to free Jax. Free Jack. At least in Jax, again, like I mentioned, he's bad comic relief, but he at least has a little personality.
Yeah.
That's so sad. That's so sad.
And Liu Kang is sent off to
Why
find
does he
a
have
Native
robot arms? Does he have those in the game or not?
So in the game, he has actual robot arms, but in this one, they're like sleeves that he puts on over his arms that make him stronger, that are also metal. It's weird.
I don't know.
And Liu Kang is sent to find a Native American shaman who, for some reason, is living in Outworld.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I didn't know what was going on there. There's like, yeah, and he starts having more flashbacks to Shao Kahn around like a fire or something. And I realized I missed an opportunity in the other podcast to make an everybody Shang Tsung tonight joke. Then again, how many people are going to get that reference?
I was actually, when I was getting lunch today, they have like food trucks outside where I work. Somebody was blasting Everybody Wang Chung tonight.
Or does everybody have fun tonight? Anyway,
Yeah.
I forget what the exact name of the song. Okay. They get Sonya and Jax get attacked by a character from Halo that has spiky balls, and they fight some ninjas. The CGI in this is terrible.
It's awful, especially like later on.
It's some of the worst CGI I have ever seen in a big budget movie. And that's even if you compare it to like other stuff from that time. Like,
Yeah.
even for that time, this is bad. Like,
I'd even argue that the effects in Alien Origin were better.
there weren't any effects in that movie.
There were for like the last 10 seconds. They had an alien on screen.
I'm not counting that. They didn't have enough money. Oh, I will say that about Alien Origin. At least they were smart enough to know that they probably couldn't afford to have good special effects. That's probably one of the only smart things about them. Yeah, it's just... Is it just me, or is there no plot?
There's no plot.
This might be the movie with the least amount of plot that we've done on the podcast. It's just fight scene after fight scene.
Yeah.
Don't you miss when movies had plots?
Like the first Mortal Kombat.
Like the first Mortal Kombat, yeah. Or the 2021 Mortal Kombat. Neither of those had much of a plot, but it was still more than this. The music was annoying me. Oh my god, one of the worst. There's like an explosion and they run away, and there's this terrible blue screen shot of them jumping away from the explosion. It is so bad. That literally, that no joke, that looks like something we could have done.
Yeah, no, it was really bad.
That looks like something like you'd see in like an internet video or something. It's just bad. And also the villains in this look ridiculous. You got this one guy that has devil horns. I guess he's the poor man's darkness. And there's this one girl with 4 arms.
Then you've got the centaur dude.
Is the girl with 4 arms related to Goro, or...
I don't remember. I do know that she is a character in the games.
Okay, whatever. I don't care with this movie.
Shiva.
You betrayed Shiva.
I don't think so. They're the same species, but I don't think they're related.
Sindel becomes the new general. And what's funny is that the little girl from the Ewok TV movies was named Sindel. It's spelled differently, but every time they said her name, that's what I thought of. And honestly, even those were better than this. Oh, there's a question. Is this better or worse than the Star Wars Holiday Special?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Jesus Christ. I mean, I'd rather watch this than the Star Wars Holiday Special. No, maybe not. Oh my god. I will say this about the Star Wars Holiday Special. They knew they fucked up, so they only aired it once and tried to bury it. So,
And they didn't throw it out into theaters.
yeah. Oh my god. But it's like, I mean, oh my god. I'd probably rather watch this than the Star Wars Holiday Special, though.
Which is a sad, sad statement.
There's very few things that are worse than the Star Wars Holiday Special. One of them is Alien Origin.
I wonder if we'll ever find anything that's going to top Alien Origin.
Even Alien Resurrection was better than Alien Origin.
Like, Alien Origin, I feel like, is scraping the absolute bottom of the barrel.
No, it goes below the barrel. It's like 10 miles under the bottom of the barrel. Okay, so I did kind of paraphrase that from Roger Ebert, so anyway. At one point, Liu Kang has visions where he has reptile eyes? What the fuck was that?
So he finds Nightwolf, who's the Native American shaman he was looking for, and he tells him to unlock his animality, which will shapeshift him into a dragon, apparently.
So what, is this Animorphs now?
It's the first time I've thought about Animorphs in a while.
Same here, actually.
When are we getting the Animorphs movie?
I just remembered seeing the covers of the books and thinking they looked cool. I don't think I actually ever read one of them.
I read a couple of them. I liked them.
I might have read one. Now that I think, I don't remember which one it was, though. But yeah, so Liu Kang is apparently a dragon now. I guess.
Apparently. He can just turn into one.
I missed that. Granted, this isn't a movie that I need to pay the closest attention to. Is it? Is it really like a huge crime of humanity that I might have missed some details while watching this movie?
Yes, it is.
He sees Jade and it starts snowing, and that was another thing that sort of made me think of Legend.
Oh, Discord, don't tell me you're...
Bunch of exposition. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I honestly had an easier time following the plot of Turkish Star Wars. Oh my god, Turkish Star Wars had a better plot than your movie did. That's impressive.
It also had better special effects.
Yeah, because they stole them from Star Wars. I mean, I will give Annihilation this. At least as far as I could tell, they didn't steal special effects from other people.
That's a good point.
Maybe they did, who knows. At least if they did, it wasn't as... I think they might have reused some stuff, though. But it wasn't it wasn't as obvious as in, like, Superman 4, where it's the same shot of Superman flying over and over again.
Yeah.
Sonya and Jax wander around a wasteland. And they... Oh my god, this scene... I can't believe this is actually in the movie. Okay, so Sonya gets attacked by what she thinks is an evil katana. I don't know who it was, but...
It was supposed to be Melina, who is her sister, if I'm remembering correctly.
And then... they literally have a mud fight.
Yeah, no, it's very blatant. They're like rolling around in the mud and like kicking each other around.
Oh my god, it's so...
And it's the only time that two women fight in the entire movie, by the way.
Yeah. I wonder why this scene was put in there. It's like when you had that, like whenever Tarantino shows feet in his movies, you know why it's there.
Yeah.
And then Sonya gets attacked by a statue that turns into a terrible CGI dinosaur.
That, like, Jax defeats in, like, 4 punches. And can we just talk about how infuriating Sonya is during this whole thing, by the way?
She's pretty bad, yeah, the
Because
acting's
she
bad,
and Jax are just, like, walking through the desert, and Jax is like, hey, do you mind telling me what you're talking about with this whole merge thing? And she's like, there's no time. It's like, how long have y'all been walking through the desert? You've had plenty of time to explain this.
Yeah, it's so bad. And then Sonya, like, Jax makes a comment saying that she looks good in mud. And this was what, again, this is how low the bar was. It made me make a comment like this. At least the stuff with Jax and Sonya hints at cast members having chemistry. That's the closest we get to chemistry in this movie. It's still bad. Oh my god.
So then they make it back to the temple, where Raiden comes out with a haircut.
Is it Raiden or Raiden? I don't know.
So it's supposed to be Raiden, but they were afraid they were going to get sued by like an arcade company. And so they spelled it Rayden. So I think it's technically Raiden in the movies, even though it should be Raiden.
They thought they were gonna get sued by the people who made the Mortal Kombat games, but they're making the Mortal Kombat movies?
It was like some other like arcade company made a game called Raiden.
Oh, okay.
And so they're like, we don't want to get sued, even though Raiden is just the Japanese word for lightning. So you probably can't sue over that.
Yeah, lightning. Very, very frightening me. I... Oh, this was a very telling comment I wrote down. I wrote down, I don't think there's a single shot in this movie that looks good.
The ones in the flashbacks to the first movie look decent.
But, like, most of it, okay, if it's not bad, like, blue screen and bad CGI, it's just them walking around in a desert.
Yeah.
It's just bad. Because, like, there are scenes where you can tell they filmed on location, but they're so poorly framed and blocked that, like, it doesn't matter, really. It still looks like shit. The bad guys ride around on horses at one point.
For some reason, and then the horses are never seen again.
Okay, aren't they like these... They're like these super powerful beings, but they need horses?
For this one scene, for some reason.
Are you kidding me?
And then they have, Sindel shriek, and it collapses the entire temple.
Yeah, that was weird.
But before they all die, Raiden takes them away to Outworld to try and find Katana.
Raiden's outfit here, oh my god, like...
It's terrible.
He, like, showed up, and I was, like, thinking he looks like Billy Idol. And the hair, too, like, just... Does he dance with himself, or have white weddings? I guess it was Sindel that let out the rebel yell here. This also... I wasn't sure if they were... Because some of the locations here sort of looked like the ending of Last Crusade.
A little bit,
A
yeah.
little bit, yeah. You're gonna say no shit, Sherlock, but that was a better movie than this. Every Indiana Jones movie is better than this, including the one that hasn't come out yet.
That's a bold claim. You don't know what they're capable of.
I do, and nothing that they've made has been worse than this. Rise of Skywalker was bad, but it was still better than this. As for which one I'd rather watch, though, that's a toss-up. At this point, I'm like, either give me a plot or give me a quick death. Oh my god, how many... Most of my notes is just the special effects look so bad. Like,
and they just get worse as the movie goes along because they try to put more and more of them in there, and they just don't work.
I'm thinking, like, the special effects in this look worse than some of the TV shows I've watched recently.
Yeah.
Like 90s TV shows. Like Babylon 5 looks better than this. Farscape looks better than this. This thing cost $30 million. $30 million. There is no excuse. Especially since the first movie cost $20 million and it still looks better. Another line from Shao Kahn. I will rally the extermination squads and prepare for victory. The merger will soon be complete, and all your friends will be dead. And the only thing funnier than these lines is how they're delivered, because Shao Kahn just... Oh my god. There's like one part where they're fighting and it didn't even feel like they were fighting. It felt like they were dancing.
Yeah, no, it's just terrible.
They were just spinning around and kicking, but they weren't hitting anything. It's like so bad. Liu Kang goes to rescue Katana.
Again.
She doesn't do anything in this movie, does she?
Nope.
And she says, "It's a trap, Lou. Leave."
And he just comes in anyway.
And, like, that line delivery, I'm like, couldn't you have at least tried to show some concern here? Like, that line delivery was on the level of, like, Willy Wonka saying, "No, stop, come back." Like, it's bad. It's so bad.
And we've got this really boring fight scene where Liu Kang is swinging around on a chain. And he's supposed to be fighting other people on chains, but the chains are so far apart that you see them just swinging for like half the battle.
Yeah.
It's so boring. That's the worst thing you can do in a movie that's all about fight scenes, is to make your fight scenes boring. Because this was about the point in the movie where I was finally like, oh, I don't care.
I was totally checked out by this point, so, like, I kind of gave up on writing notes.
Because, like, I'll admit, the first fight in the movie, it was kind of fun, even though it was, like, really badly edited. And all the effects sucked, but the first one was kind of fun. By this point in the movie, it's like, I have no stake in this, and the fight is just bad.
The first movie had more energy to it. And, it was better edited. The fight scenes were just way better shot than in this one. Like, this honestly made me appreciate the first movie more, because the first movie wasn't that great, but I mean, it was
better than this.
It knew better what it was. Yeah. This movie didn't know when to quit. Also, why does Sindel emphasize the word "you" so much?
I don't know.
It's so weird. Too bad you will die. Raiden, he became mortal or something, just like Connor McLeod.
Except he did it too early because it's before the final fight.
Yeah. It also turns out he's related to elder gods, and Shao Kahn is his brother.
For some reason.
And it turns out they're in this mess because years ago Raiden refused to kill Khan. Wow, you're even making the heroes in this look incompetent.
And so they finally decide to go and fight Shao Kahn and the remaining villains one-on-one.
Yeah, and then Raiden dies.
Because he is so incompetent, he can't even... Like, the second he becomes mortal, he dies.
And his death was so boring that I don't even remember how he died.
I think he just gets, like, zapped out of existence or something stupid like that.
It was something, yeah, it was dumb. You get more fighting. I don't give a shit. Just fucking end already.
He's basically, we get Jax fighting the Centaur, who he can only beat after taking off his metal arms. Sonya fights the ninja Ermac, who then also summons another ninja named Noob Saibot. Liu Kang's going and trying to fight Shao Kahn. Is there anybody? I think those are the only people in the movie at this point.
It doesn't matter. You could have left one or.
Oh no! Katana fights Sindel. That's right. That was the other.
Again, who cares? Who cares at this point? We also get some CGI monsters fighting, and it is some of the worst CGI I have ever seen.
Because Liu Kang turns into a dragon, Jax says something stupid like, "Oh, now I have seen everything," and then Shao Kahn turns into a Hydra, and it just looks awful.
It's so bad, yeah. Again, who looked at that and thought, yeah, it looks good. Release that. What studio released this? I want to know.
Hopefully they're bankrupt now.
Oh god, if it New Line Cinema and Threshold Entertainment. Isn't New Line Cinema like defunct now?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
They were merged with Warner Brothers, so yeah, they don't exist anymore. And this might be why. It's because they let movies like this get pass.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same. They're the same ones that did that Dungeons and Dragons movie.
That makes sense.
They did also do Lord of the Rings, though. I guess Lord of the Rings couldn't even save them. The Mortal Kombat theme plays during the fight between Liu Kang and Shao Kahn, and it's the best fight in the movie.
I'm gonna say, I love the build-up to that last part of the fight, because Chinook... Oh, but we haven't mentioned Chinook yet.
I don't even know who that is.
He's the evil wizard dude that's, like, in control of Shao Kahn.
Oh, yeah, I remember him.
That is never explained, or, like... He's given, like, 5 minutes total of screen time, but he's, like, the main villain. So he's just gonna, like, kill everyone, and then the god of fire and the god of water come out of nowhere. And they have this stupid line. They're holding Chinook back, and the water god and the fire god go, "The fate of the universe will be decided as it should be in Mortal Kombat." And when they say Mortal Kombat, they play the song over it.
I remember that, yeah. That was actually...
That was the best part of the movie.
Mostly because of the Mortal Kombat theme, which...
Exactly.
That's like the bare minimum that this movie could do, is have the Mortal Kombat theme in it. They defeat the bad guys. One of them gets rolled up into a cube and sent to the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, what was up with that? They just fold Chinook into a bunch of cubes and then he's gone.
I don't know. I guess he was one of the Kryptonians that escaped or something.
And then the other gods revive Raiden.
Oh my god! I just remembered this other. That sorry, you can keep going.
So they revive Raiden, meaning that none of the heroes died, except for Johnny Cage at the very beginning.
You had to add that suspense by killing Johnny Cage.
Yeah.
God, that's so bad. Oh, jeez. So Raiden survived.
He becomes a god. And then the movie ends.
You forgot to mention, though, Shao Kahn's death. Like, the way he dies, like, that special effect was just bad, where he, like, folds up and turns into, like, a monster that disappears. That was awful. Then things just go back to normal. At one point, Jax says, "That was the longest week of my life."
He's not wrong. It was the longest hour and a half of mine.
Yeah, that sums up my experience watching this. I was grateful, though, to find out that the end credits were 10 minutes long, because then that meant that at least this thing was only 83 minutes.
Yeah.
If it were any longer, I might have harmed somebody.
Something else that I don't think we've mentioned yet. This movie is even less violent than the first movie.
Yeah, it is. That's not saying much, though. This is the first movie, like, the most violent thing that happens is, like, what, Shang Tsung falls on, like, a spike?
Yeah.
Whereas here, I guess people just turn into monsters and disappear.
And thankfully, at this point, the audience is just put out of their misery and the film ends.
That is, if they hadn't gotten up and left before the movie was over.
This is one of those movies where they should, like, offer you a cyanide pill as the movie starts, just so that you can just check out when you're done with the movie.
Finish him!
Overall thoughts. Okay, so I remember saying that Superman 4 was the most incompetent and brain-dead movie that we'd done on the podcast. I think this might have surpassed it.
Yeah, this was bad.
I mean, watching this made me wish that I was brain-dead. And at least with Superman 4, you got a bit more of a sense that they knew what their limitations were. And the acting was better.
Yeah.
It did have a dumber plot and a dumber villain. Because, I mean, Nuclear Man. Enough said.
Yeah.
But it was more charming than this.
Yeah.
It also, I think it might have surpassed that movie as the least finished movie we've done on the podcast. It's close, though.
This is definitely entered in, like, top 5 worst movies that we've done on this podcast.
I think it's in the top 3, actually.
That's fair. It might actually be in the top 3 for me, too.
Let me look at what else we've done. It's not worse than Alien Origin.
That's a given.
Alien Resurrection, I found more painful to watch than this. Because Mortal Kombat Annihilation and Alien Resurrection, they're bad for... The reasons they're bad are a little bit different. Alien Resurrection, it felt like they were trying to be funny and it failed. Mortal Kombat Annihilation, there was stuff that wasn't supposed to be funny that ended up being funny.
Yeah. I'd say it's worse than Rise of Skywalker.
It's worse than Alien Covenant. And that is not, like... And I cannot tell you how mad I was at Alien Covenant. So saying it's worse than that, I mean, it's worse than Hercules and Xena.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh my god. That's another one where Hercules and Xena felt more finished than this. Yeah. I think it's worse than Turks in Space, but it's also funnier than Turks in Space.
Yeah. I'd say
it's worse than Army of Frankenstein's, because at least with Army of Frankenstein's, it was a low-budget movie, so they have a little more of an excuse.
Is it worse than the From Dusk Till Dawn sequels? I would say
it's way worse. It's way worse.
Yeah.
It's definitely way worse. Because again, those are like direct-to-video.
Yeah.
Those are direct-to-video movies. There's at least a little more of an excuse for them to not have as good of special effects, you know.
I think this might be the second worst movie we've done, just looking at the list of movies.
Oh, what's number one?
Alien Origin.
Yeah, that's what I have. I personally
oh god, is this really the second worst movie?
Part of it is like I'm trying to figure out, like, do I judge it based on like my own personal, like, how much enjoyment I got out of it, or like from a technical standpoint. You know, because Alien Origin is definitely like
it's hard to do worse than Alien Origin. Something that barely qualifies as a movie.
And again, this cost more to make than the first Mortal Kombat movie, which is ridiculous. And I mentioned the directing on the first movie. I mentioned it felt like a music video.
Yeah.
At some points. This one just straight up looks and feels like a bad music video.
Yeah.
Like it's a Power Rangers music video. It's quite possibly the worst movie we've... it's not the worst. It's close, though. It's close.
I think for me it might be the second worst. Like, this was really bad.
It's the second or third worst movie we've done on the podcast. Again, it's not my least favorite, though. There are movies I've enjoyed less than it, but, like, it's bad. Let's see. It's not my least favorite we've done, but on a technical level, this is just an unmitigated disaster. Like, nothing in this is good. Like,
it's really bad.
Like, because really, are there any positives from this at all?
Not really.
The only positives you really get out of it are, like, things that weren't supposed to be funny, but they end up being funny. And the Mortal Kombat theme plays in it.
That's what saves it from being the absolute worst. Wow, okay.
Well, are the costumes a positive or a negative?
They're decent. I guess they're fairly accurate to the games at that point in time, but
they just look so cheap, though. They look like Halloween costumes.
And the fact that most of the like a lot of the villain characters aren't actually like human, and they just have like horrid special effects doesn't help.
Again, like, I will say, though, there were some lines and special effects that made me laugh just due to how bad they were. So, like, there is some... If you watch this with, like, a group of friends and you're, like, drunk and making fun of it, you can get some enjoyment out of it. That's, like, the only way I would recommend watching this. And to be fair, it moves fast.
Yeah.
It's sort of like Superman 4, where the pacing is way too fast. And you feel like some stuff got cut out.
Yeah.
This might honestly be the worst big-budget studio film I have ever seen.
Yeah, it's astounding that the budget was as high as it was.
Because, okay, not only is the directing, acting, and writing bad, but yeah, so little of the movie's budget is on screen. This is, like, barely passable for a TV movie. Like, let alone
Yeah.
worthy to be released in theaters. Like, if this was a shitty kids show, whatever. Like, maybe it's passable as the 5th season of Power Rangers or something. But this got put out in theaters.
Yeah, it's baffling. It's just awful.
Was this like a money embezzlement scheme by Max Bialystock and Leo Bloom? Is this the springtime for Hitler of movies? Oh, another thing. I know we've said this before, but do you know what I'm about to say?
I'm not sure I do.
Batgirl got
Yeah.
Batgirl got canceled.
But this got released in and keep in mind, Batgirl was supposed to come to HBO Max. It was not going to be a theatrical film.
Oh my god, that makes me wonder, like, if Batgirl looked like this.
Well, Batgirl was 90 million. I need to know how awful Batgirl is if they just canned the whole damn thing.
Batgirl got canceled, but this was apparently okay to show to people.
To show in theaters, nonetheless.
Oh my god. I mean, there is some enjoyment to be got out of just the fact that people thought that this was an acceptable product.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like... What else is there really to say about this?
So is this also I guess this is the worst video game adaptation we've done.
Not the worst one I've ever seen, though. I've seen worse.
Same.
I have seen worse. I've seen ones that cost more than this, and look...
I think both of ours are by the same director, if I had to guess.
They're by the same director, yes.
Yeah.
Who will not be mentioned by name.
He who shall not be named.
Yes. I mean, if we're talking, like, how much it cost to how much ended up on the screen, this has to be, like, the worst.
Exactly.
There's just... It's the one movie... it's one of the movies on this podcast that just had no excuse to be this bad. Like... I mean, granted, it's a sequel to Mortal Kombat. You don't expect much, but what you expect still has to be better than this.
Exactly. This was just an unmitigated disaster.
But I am laughing at it, so there's that. Oh, God. Oh, man.
I just want to put this thing in the ground. I don't want to think about Mortal Kombat Annihilation anymore.
Oh, I do, because there's parts of it that make me laugh. That's another thing. Who got more? I think you got less enjoyment out of it than I did, actually, and that's saying a lot too.
Because we both put it in our bottom 3 movies.
After watching it, I honestly lost some hope in humanity after sitting through it. Part of it is like there's those two factors: enjoyment and also just from an analytical perspective. Those are like the two things I struggle with on
but they both suck for this movie.
From an analytical standpoint, this absolutely is like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. But I've seen stuff that's more painful to watch than this. Like Alien Resurrection and Alien Origin.
Yeah.
Like Alien Covenant was more boring than this.
Yeah.
Hercules and Xena, the animated movie, was more boring than this. Turks in Space was more boring than this. Army of Frankensteins, was that more or less boring than this? Honestly, after watching this, I kind of felt similar to how I felt after watching Army of Frankensteins. Where I was like,
Yeah.
there were parts of it that were funny, but I still felt like I wasted so much time watching it.
Exactly. We need to watch a good movie next.
Yeah, you don't say. You want to watch the Mortal Kombat anime? Nah, I'm done with Mortal Kombat.
Surprise, this podcast is becoming a Mortal Kombat podcast until we run out of content.
Can we just review one of the games or something? I'd rather do that.
Fatality. Flawless victory.
Okay, so trivia. Siskel and Ebert did not review it as far as I can tell, and
That's good.
good for you guys. Did not need to sit through this movie. If they did, they probably would have died even earlier. Leonard Maltin gave it a bomb.
Fair.
He said it was. I guess I should have let you guess. I mean, what else was he gonna give it though? To be fair,
Yeah.
like there. Although he still somehow says some strange things here. Okay. He said it was a mind-numbing sequel, which, yeah, that's a good descriptor. But then he called the visual effects okay.
No, they're worse than okay.
You already lost me, Leonard. If those are okay special effects to him, I would hate to hear what he considers bad special effects.
Yeah.
And another thing I am shocked about, this didn't get a single Razzie nomination.
Wow, it really deserved awards, let alone nominations.
And this is worse than all the nominees that year.
Yeah.
Postman, Batman and Robin, Anaconda, Fire
What a
Down
year.
Below, and Speed 2, and yeah, these aren't
Speed 2.
These aren't good movies, but they're better than this.
Yeah.
They at least look like movies that were finished. I mean, Anaconda looks more finished than Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Oh my god, that's gonna be like one of my new like low bars I go. It's like, does the movie look more finished than
Mortal Kombat Annihilation?
Dana He, who played Melina, also did stunt work on Mortal Kombat,
Nice.
Batman Forever, From Dusk Till Dawn. So that's like 3 other movies we've done on this podcast.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2 and The Avengers.
Huh.
When asked in an interview what his worst Mortal Kombat memory was, Ed Boon said, "That's a tough one. I don't know if this is my least favorite memory, but I wasn't a big fan of Mortal Kombat Annihilation."
This man contributed all of 2 lines and said this is his least favorite thing in Mortal Kombat.
This movie was unfinished, if you haven't
You don't
guessed.
say.
This won't surprise you. One of the guys doing the visual effects said the movie was taken away by the studio and released before they were done. Why? Why would you do that? A third Mortal Kombat movie was planned, but shelved. I wonder why. I'm surprised that this didn't kill the franchise entirely.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was shelved because this movie failed at the box office. It would have been called Mortal Kombat Devastation. And apparently Christopher Lambert would have come back as Raiden.
Really?
And Russell Mulcahy was supposed to direct, so apparently it was going to be a bit of a Highlander reunion. Let's get Sean Connery in there too, make it even more of a reunion. And Clancy Brown.
You know what? Sean Connery could play Shang Tsung.
Oh my god. Your brother's soul is mine.
Your brother's soul is mine. You must face me in Mortal Kombat.
Clancy Brown would be a good Mortal Kombat villain.
He could be Shao Kahn.
He could be Shao Kahn, yeah.
The Earth was created in 6 days.
The actor who played Johnny Cage in the first movie turned this one down because he didn't like the script.
You know what? That's fair.
Same with Christopher Lambert. He didn't like the script, which I mentioned earlier. Considering some of the sequels he's agreed to appear in, that says a lot.
Yeah.
Making the Immortals aliens, that was okay. Highlander 3 was okay. Spirit of Vengeance. Oh yes, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. That script was apparently better than the one for this movie. Jeez. I wonder how far he made it into the script before he decided, no thanks.
Probably didn't take long.
I'm immortal. I don't have to put up with this. Robin Shou, who played Liu Kang in the first movie, and Paul W.S. Anderson, director of the first movie, didn't like this one.
Really?
I don't blame them. I mean, I'd be worried if someone said they did like this. Like, the only excuse for that is if they're, like, 10, or if they thought it was hilariously bad.
Yeah.
Paul W.S. Anderson was offered to return for this film, but he chose to work on Event Horizon instead.
He actually made a good choice on that one.
Yeah, I like Event Horizon, actually. He later expressed his dislike for the film and regret that he chose not to be involved in it. It was one of the reasons that he remained involved in the making of the sequels to Resident Evil as a way of, quote, staying with the franchise and shepherding it. I mean, to be fair, all of the Resident Evil movies are better than this.
Yeah, that is fair. I wonder if the Monster Hunter movie is better than this.
Although, to be fair, though, the first two Resident Evil movies are more painful to watch than this.
Yeah. But those last 4 get so stupid and ridiculous.
Afterlife has that, like, dumb fight scene where she's kicking, like, glass panes at alien dog things or whatever the fuck was.
Yeah.
What were those?
Yeah, they were like zombie dogs.
Yeah, aliens, whatever. I'm getting it confused with Highlander 2. I'm sorry. Oh my god. If adding up all backflips, front flips, and side flips together, there are a total of 54 of them present in the
that's
film.
a horrible drinking game. What are you talking about? You won't be alive by the end of that.
J.J. Perry replaced Chris Casamassa as Scorpion, as Casamassa chose to do Batman and Robin instead.
Oh. Marginally better choice.
Mr. Freeze would honestly feel right at home in this movie.
Yeah.
With some of the ridiculous lines in this. They should have cast Arnold as Sub-Zero then, in that case.
I was about to do a Scorpion line.
What?
But-
Which one?
I was gonna do Get Over Here as Arnold.
Get over here.
Get over here!
Come on.
There's a bomb in there.
There's a bomb in there. Okay. That's all I have for trivia. So next time, can we do a good movie on the podcast? I've suffered so much with this one.
I guess just roll the Andy Griffith.
Good night, you stupid idiot. Good night, you miserable slob.